Turn one soul ring.
You were in a band?
Yeah.
What did you...
I'm a drummer.
What was your band called?
That's a good question. I actually do not remember.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. Because we only played we mainly just hung out and jammed together.
Right.
We maybe played one or two shows, but that's about it. It was a lot of fun.
I can't believe you were in a band. Was a bit of a drummer myself.
Oh,
actually.
Yeah. Cool.
So
did you have your own set?
I did have my own set, my own kit.
Yeah.
Yeah. As they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, well, welcome to the show, everyone. This is Turn One Soul Ring. I'm not going to forget to say it again.
This is a magic podcast.
That's right. And we talk about all things related to magic. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Eric.
And today on the show, we're going to be talking about the cards that you should pick up, or at least that we're going to pick up. I'm going to pick up at the upcoming standard rotation. Pickups for your commander decks. And we're also going to be talking about the lands in the commander format, the lands that we like to play, our land strategy when we're building decks, and things like that. So I'm pretty much an exclusive commander player. So the only time I really pay attention to standard is when rotation is approaching, and Wizards of the Coast / Hasbro has still said, hey, Kevin, we don't want your money, so I can't play Arena. But Eric, you play a lot of Arena, right?
I do, and that's really the only... Because of Arena, that's when I've started really paying attention to Standard more.
And besides Standard, are there other formats to play on Arena?
No, there is not.
There are just some events once in a while where you can play other formats, right?
Sorry, they do have Draft as well.
Oh, okay.
Draft is in there, yeah.
Okay.
And then whenever there's a new set, they will do sealed events for the new set coming out. So you can also just do a sealed event for pre-release and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think even recently they just randomly had another sealed event popped in there from one of the Ravnica sets that you can just kind of play. So they do pepper that stuff in, but Draft is always there. And like we were talking about, I think on a previous episode, they actually do have now for ranked Draft, you can do M2020 is always there. And then sometimes they'll cycle through another older set that you can also draft.
And that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. And so you'd have a much better idea of the standard format, and that's probably come up on the show when I've been like, that doesn't see any standard, or that only sees playing commander, and you're like, I think it sees playing, and then I look like an ass.
But prices though, because Arena doesn't have any prices, I have no idea on that stuff.
Yeah, and I watch. There's a really good YouTube channel called Heroes and Legends, and they do a price update video every week, I think. And they're really good for that kind of thing. So that's kind of where I get my prices for standard cards. But he also does modern and commander and a vintage spotlight. And it's a very, very good channel. If you're into that kind of thing, check it out. It's a really good channel.
Cool.
But the only reason I pay attention to standard at that point is at rotation is because, I want to pick up all those previously overpriced standard cards for my various commander decks that are now much, much cheaper. So we're just going to go through a short little list, not really in any particular order, of the cards that, we're on the lookout for picking up at the upcoming rotation. And with
maybe coming up even soon.
Even sooner, yeah. Don't wait until rotation happens, which should be with the release of Throne of Eldraine.
Yep.
And that rotation is Ixalan, Ravels of Ixalan, a Dominaria, and Core 19.
You got it.
All 4 sets are rotating out.
Yep.
So, yeah, you could even start picking up these cards probably now, especially because this episode will come out, I believe we're already into September at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is September.
And so this is when things are, because people know the rotation's happening, so they're wanting to get rid of their cards when they still have value. So they're still ditching their cards even before this time.
And even if the cards have playability in other formats, standard devoted standard players are still ditching the cards, and that's going to affect their price. Even a card like Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is still going to take a hit.
Yeah,
and
he has been.
He has been.
Yeah, definitely down there.
Yeah. Okay, so the first card we want to talk about is Karn, Scion of Urza. So Karn is 4 mana for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. His +1 is reveal the top 2 cards of your library. An opponent chooses one of them. Put that card into your hand and exile the other with a silver counter on it. Yeah, it's a silver counter.
Yeah.
there's no question mark. -1. Put a card you own with a silver counter on it from exile into your hand. And his -2 is create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So this card got very pricey, very fast when it was released.
It did, yeah.
And I sort of was kicking myself for not buying them like at that $8.99 price tag, but he's almost back there. So and he's a great rate. He's a great planeswalker in any artifact-based commander deck. I'm definitely going to pick up copies for my Duretti and my Memnarch decks.
I'd say even if you're not in an artifact deck, he still goes through your deck for you.
Yeah,
so you're +1ing, you're going to get a card for sure. And then if your opponent puts a card away that you really want, you can -1 and get that card.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just solid card advantage
in
general.
And in like mono white or red when you need that card draw.
He's great to plug in there, yeah.
Or even in those colorless commander decks.
Yeah.
He's great in there too.
Yeah.
And you're also running a lot of artifacts in any of those decks, even just for ramp.
Totally.
Right? So yeah, he's very good. And last time I checked, he was like $8.99 on Card Kingdom. So
crazy. Yeah. So when this card first came out, I remember the launch, like pre-release, I ended up pulling one. I traded in right away and got $40 cash.
Nice.
Yeah, because his price was at $50 when he first came out.
Yeah.
And then it still went higher.
Yeah.
And I was kicking myself a little bit for getting rid of it so early because I could have gotten an extra like $20-$30 out of it. Just looking at MTG stocks, it's kind of interesting. His peak in US dollars was up at the like $66 range.
Wow.
Yeah.
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of that.
So yeah, I would say this is definitely a very good card for his price.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we have Escape Shift. Reprint from Core 19, M19. 2 and 2 green for a sorcery. Sacrifice any number of lands. Search your library for up to that many land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. So this card was very pricey for a very long time. I think it was from Morningtide originally. And, like all cards from that era of Magic, they were underprinted, and therefore the good ones were more valuable over time. But this is a great pickup for any lands deck. And if I didn't already have copies in my Angry Omnath, Tatiova, and Gitrog decks, I would be picking these up. And I think these have already started to climb back in price.
It looks like they have a little bit
because of Modern.
Yep.
But these are just, for even for the price it is now, it's still a good pickup.
Yeah, so I can't remember, but I think when I was playing Modern, they were around, before the reprint, around like the $50 mark.
That sounds right.
Mm-hmm. So it definitely took a hit from that reprint. And then, they have been climbing back up. They're around like the, I think, $20-ish mark. There might be a little bit of a dip here on just the stocks graph, but we'll see what happens with that one.
And they really dipped after they were first printed. They were around like $7 or $8.
I should have bought them.
Because that's when I put them into these decks.
Yeah,
because it wasn't seeing standard play. It's just like Crucible of Worlds wasn't seeing standard play, and that's what's great about this. And like now they've done the ley lines, right? The Wizards they know they can print these cards that won't see standard play but are great for other formats.
Totally,
right? Even like Modern, they can do these kind of Modern reprints and make everybody happy.
Exactly.
Okay, we already talked about this guy, but let's do it again. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. He's 3, a white and a blue for a 4 loyalty planeswalker. His +1 is draw a card at the beginning of the next end step, untap 2 lands. His -3 is put target non-land permanent into its owner's library, third from the top. And his -8 is you get an emblem with whenever you draw a card, exile target permanent and opponent controls. And if you get that emblem against me, I will concede.
Yeah. This is like blue-white controls win con. Pretty much. You get Teferi out there, plus him, get the ultimate, and then you win at that point. I am glad to not see this card in Standard anymore, because this card came out, it was in Standard, I was seeing it on Arena, modern players were picking it up, I was only playing against Teferis for a while, and I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But really good card. And then he was up to like the $65 mark-ish, I think. And I was just at the tournament. They had him in the case for like $35.
Yeah. So he's never going to be a cheap card.
I don't think it's too good to be a cheap card.
But, this is probably the cheapest he'll be until the next reprint.
Probably.
And, who knows when we're going to see that.
Yeah, because, again, I just want to talk about that first ability. You play Teferi for 5 mana, but then you get to draw a card, and you untap 2 lands to have your counterspell up. So he just protects himself.
And he basically costs 3.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. He doesn't even have to have the other abilities.
No,
he's still
super good. Yeah.
God. Okay, so this next one is Search for Azcanta. It's 1 in a blue for a legendary enchantment. Eric, can you look up the flip side of this? Because I neglected to find the image.
Yeah.
At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard. Then, if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you may transform Search for Azcanta
into Azcanta, the Sunken Ruin.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah. So this card has dropped already.
Oh, it's dropped big time, yeah.
I would say just pick it up now.
Yeah. But I don't know how much more it's going to dip. I think it's...
Like US, it's around $5.
Yeah.
That's such a good deal for this card.
Yeah, for sure.
Because even like for your commander decks, like once you get this thing transformed, you can just pay 3 mana to dig 4 deep.
Yeah, 4 deep.
Find a card. Yeah.
And is it any card or instant or sorcery?
It's non-creature, non-land.
Yeah. Okay. So you can get planeswalkers. You can get
enchantments. Artifacts. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, this card's really good. Any control deck, you just want to dig, this card is fantastic.
And then even in that situation, you don't want to have to pay mana to get stuff. You're in a sticky situation. You don't have to transform it. It is a May to transform, so you can just keep it on the battlefield for that scry one.
And what's great about all these flip lands from this cycle is that they all just tap for mana anyways. Even the Maze of Ith taps for mana.
Yeah.
So you can still just use it as a resource in that regard.
And it is blue mana taps for as well, not just colorless. So
yeah. This is such a great cycle. Okay, next up we have Vivian Reed. She is 3 and 2 green for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. Her +1 is look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Her -3 is destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. And her -8 is you get an emblem with creatures you control get +2/+2 and have vigilance, trample, and indestructible.
She's so good in a creature deck. Because the +1 just gets you all the stuff you need. Yeah. So
you don't even need to do anything else.
No, you really don't.
Everything else is just icing on the cake. You do have that that overrun effect.
Yeah.
But
it's also an emblem.
It's not even
that gives
overrun
all your
effect. Yeah,
indestructible.
It's permanent. So if you do it again, you just get that's a lot. By the time you're doing it again, you probably won.
Yeah, because none of your stuff's going away unless people have exile. Yeah, that emblem is so strong.
Yeah, she's very good, and she did get up there. She was almost to the $30 mark at one time.
Super good card in Standard. I was definitely running her in Arena. Just because, again, the +1 is so good. But then you have Hydroid Crosses and stuff flying around the format. You can play her -3. See ya. And then keep +1ing for... And there was a game where I emblemed her, and my opponent stayed around for 4 or 5 turns. And then
don't you love that?
Then scooped. Because
when they stay around, it's okay, just let me enjoy this then.
Yeah,
fine.
I was just my stuff's indestructible.
Yeah.
I'm playing more stuff. Have lifelink. Good luck.
Yeah, emblems are gross.
They are. But again, yes, she has plummeted. Go pick up your Vivians. Great in creature decks.
Do it. All right, next up we have Resplendent Angel. It's 1 and 2 white for a 3/3 angel with flying. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 5 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. And you can pay 3 and 3 white until end of turn. Resplendent Angel gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink.
Just a really good value card.
Yeah,
Gaining life and getting creatures. Like,
Yeah, and not even like it's great in an angel tribal deck, but even in a deck with lifelink or even in a deck that has life gain, because if you do this on other players' turn, you can still get the token.
Yeah.
This was a card that was not, it was like pricier than I think it would be if it wasn't in standard.
Yeah, like it surprised me at the price of this card, actually. I was a little bit,
But yeah, this card is definitely at a more reasonable price.
Yeah.
Now.
This one looks like it has like settled, but I might still think it'll drop a little bit more.
I think it will drop a little more.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have Lyra or Lyra
I'd say
Dawnbringer.
Lyra.
I'm going to say Lyra because Lyra seems like something you'd name your cat.
All right.
It's 3 and 2 white for a 5/5 legendary creature angel. First strike, flying, and lifelink. Other angels you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. So this is just great in an angel tribal deck. I wouldn't necessarily run her as my commander. Just not enough value on her as
I agree
it
with
is.
that.
But yeah, this card was definitely quite pricey at one time. I think I opened this up at my first Dominaria draft, which is a set I drafted a lot. It was a great grindy draft format. Loved it.
One time in the Dominaria time, she was up to about $33 US. So
yeah, I put mine into Brisella Voice of Nightmares.
Yeah, nice.
Angel tribal deck.
Again, this card, like, such a great rate on everything that you're getting.
Oh yeah.
She's so strong. Good card.
Yeah, love it. Okay, next up we have also, can you look up the flip side of this? Because look what I did. I thought I was getting the other side.
Love it.
Thanks, Scryfall. So the next card is Nicol Bolas the Ravager. It's 1, a blue, a black, and a red for a 4/4 Elder Dragon with flying. Nicol Bolas the Ravager enters the battlefield. When Nicol Bolas the Ravager enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. Ugh. There's something uniquely just disappointing about having to discard a card.
There is.
It's just
You're
worst.
like, I wanted all these cards in my hand and I have to just decide what I don't
I
get
had
to
a
keep.
plan.
Yeah. Come on, man.
And if that wasn't enough, you can pay 4, a blue, a black, and a red to exile Nicol Bolas the Ravager, then return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. Interesting that they didn't do his or hers. They've always done that. Huh. Interesting. Anyways.
That might have been a little bit of a miss on their part.
Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery if you're a him. No, they didn't. They didn't do that last part. I'm just kidding.
Transforms into Nicol Bolas the Arisen.
Nice.
Yeah. So Nicol Bolas the Arisen, he's a 7 mana or 7 loyalty planeswalker, +2 up to 9 to draw 2 cards.
Nice. What the fuck? Come on.
-3, Nicol Bolas the Arisen deals 10 damage to target creature or planeswalker. -4, put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard under the battlefield under your control.
A graveyard.
Just a graveyard. Any graveyard.
Okay.
It's mine. And then the -12, exile all but the bottom card of target player's library.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's rough. Yeah, so you can do... I've seen my fair share of Nicol Bolas tribal decks with this guy at the helm. Commander decks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's really... he's really good.
He is good. He's great. He hasn't... I don't know if he's completely tanked in price. I think he might dip down a little bit more.
He's actually down there now.
Is he?
About $10 US
Okay.
for market value.
I think that's a good price, considering where he was.
Yeah, like he was almost up to 40 US.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, he climbed up there when he first came out.
Right.
And then dipped, wasn't seeing much standard play, and then War of the Spark came out. And boom, shot back up there.
Yeah.
I definitely had a Grixis control deck. I was running 4 of these guys.
Nice. Oh, he's
So
good. Yeah, he's fantastic.
I'll be sad to see the Elder Dragon leave.
Well, rotation happens, and it's a whole new world. You know, I like.
Oh no!
That's right.
Yeah.
I both love and hate rotation. Okay, next up we have Wayward Swordtooth. It's 2 and a green for a 5/5 dinosaur. It has Ascend, which is if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Wayward Swordtooth can't attack or block unless you have the city's blessing. So any card, I think this guy is he's appreciating in value at this point, especially with the release of Yarok in Core 2020. But anytime a card says you may play an additional land on each of your turns, that's just a card that is going to gain value over time.
It will be because it's a very, very powerful mechanic, and,
Especially in Commander.
Especially in Commander, so all the Commander players are grabbing cards like this up.
And you don't even care that you don't even care about the stat line. It's just 3 mana. You get to play extra lands.
Yeah,
Right.
so-
And that it's a 3 mana 5/5 in Commander is great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's like his chart is up and down crazily since War of the Spark came out.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. We have Alunda, the Dusk Rose. She is 2, a white and a black for a 1/1 legendary creature, Vampire Knight with lifelink. Whenever another creature dies, put a 1/1 counter on Alunda, the Dusk Rose. Whenever Alunda dies, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is Alunda's power. So what is the has this one been like dipping in value?
Yeah, it has been slowly going down. Like it definitely shot up when we had Ravnica come around because of the Orzhov aristocrat stuff happening.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been on a slowly decline. She's around the $10 mark US at the moment, but it looks like it's still going down. So
Yeah.
again, she's a vampire too. Vampires are real hot right now with War of the Spark coming out and stuff. So, but yeah, it's going to rotate away. So.
Okay, next up we have the Immortal Sun. It's a 6 mana legendary artifact. Players can't activate Planeswalker loyalty abilities. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and creatures you control get +1/+1.
This card does so much.
It's really efficient for 6 mana.
Yes. I think this is a really good card, just like throw in a bunch of decks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about like powerful artifacts, right? They can be so ubiquitous that they end up gaining more value than a card that's only a single color would over time.
Just because it can go in anything.
Exactly.
And like 6 mana, you're now drawing a card every turn on top of that.
It's like a better Staff of Nin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it does all this other shit.
Yeah, and I think this is probably a good pickup now because I think in 12 to 24 months this is probably going to be a $10 or $15 card.
Yeah, like it's actually right now US around $15.
Oh wow, okay. I thought it was much cheaper than that.
Yeah, the graph is on the downward trend. So it might go down a little bit more still, but
yeah,
it is a powerful card. It does a lot.
And I think I picked up a couple of copies long before War of the Spark was even spoiled, and at that point they were like under $5 when I picked them up. They had that standard spike.
They did actually. Even like at the beginning, I think it was still a little bit up there because when Planeswalkers were getting a little bit more common, it was a really good sideboard card in a lot of standard decks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually the graph's really interesting. Once you can tell, like it's before War of the Spark that it just shoots right up because people knew Planeswalkers were coming, so they were just buying this card up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have Slaughter the Strong. It's 1 and 2 white for a sorcery. Each player chooses any number of creatures he or she controls with total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all other creatures he or she controls. This is also
the beasts out from under them, and their strength is nothing.
Nice. It's good that you read that because this is also my pick for Flavor Win.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great art there for what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and it's total power. This is like I run this in my Arcades deck. This is like really good. But even if you just have like a bunch of mana dorks or a bunch of enchantresses with 0 power, this card can be really, really good.
Yeah, I said this is actually like this really slipped under my radar.
I don't think it was ever that expensive.
Yeah, it hasn't been like when it first came out. It was around like $3-4, but it's still like hovering around the dollar mark. But this is like actually a pretty sweet like pseudo board wipe.
Yeah, pick up a foil or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, good card. Flavor win. Okay, so let's talk lands. So, lands aren't always the most exciting things to put into our decks, but they are some of the most important cards. And I think the first question that I always ask myself when I'm building a deck is, how many lands do I need? Am I running enough lands?
Yeah.
And I think it's good to start with lands because they can end up being the most unexciting cards in a deck, right? But they let us do what we're trying to do, So, for example, I know that when I started building commander decks, I certainly wasn't putting enough lands in. And when tuning a current deck, you've got to be careful not to remove a land for that new flashy card you want to try. And I've certainly also been guilty of doing that.
Oh, yeah. You're just like, I like all the cards in my deck right now, and I want this new card in there.
I'll take out a land.
Lands don't do anything.
And and over a few months, you do that a few times, and you've gone from 35 lands to 30 lands. That's not enough lands unless you're playing like Edric or something. And not, let me tell you, it's not enough lands then either. So when I'm building a new commander deck these days, I always start with a very strict 37 lands. Unless I'm building a deck with a very low CMC, like two average CMC 2 or under. Another land pitfall I used to find myself in was running too many tapped and like enter the battlefield tapped lands. Now, I know that we can't always afford all the dual lands, right? I actually don't own any like OG dual lands.
Me neither.
Yeah, so
those are pricey.
Eric and I are just scabs like the rest of you. So don't sweat it. But you do have other options, untapped options, and you do, especially if you're in green, you have ways to build your deck so that you can get away with running more basics and being able to still fix with those basics and with some of the cheaper fetch lands and things like that, and especially green ramp spells.
Also, speaking of the reprints, because the shock lands are also rotating out of standard at the moment. Wait, no,
they're not going to rotate until next fall.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
I don't know
but then
they will go down in price.
We'll talk about that next September. Yeah.
Even on that note, most of them are at a good price right now to buy.
Oh yeah, they really except Breeding Pool. Breeding Pool is too pricey. Don't buy Breeding Pool right now.
What's Breeding Pool at?
It's at I think it's like $18 or something.
Yeah. Also, Watery Grave is at $25.
Wow. Okay. Don't buy Watery Grave either.
Those.
Yeah. But like Temple Garden is always a good pickup because nobody wants it.
Yeah. And then Steam Vents, I think, is still around $20 because the Is It lands are always notorious for being the priciest.
But when that set dropped, they were like Steam Vents was $5.99. Like I picked up 3 for all the budget decks that we built when we were doing that format.
Yeah.
I just keep upgrading them over time because we're not doing the budget format anymore. So it's like whatever. But yeah, so when those cards, keep an eye on the shock lands because once they rotate, they will go down in value because all those standard players are going to sell off their lands.
Yeah,
and those lands will always be good in eternal formats, but
they will, and they also do fluctuate a lot because Modern has a play to that. I think that's why Watery Grave is so high right now because Watery Grave has never been higher than Steam Vents. I don't think.
Yeah, that seems a little unusual. I agree. Yeah. So, anyways, So there are a couple cycles of dual lands that have a stipulation for entering the battlefield untapped. You have like the battle lands from Battle for Zendikar, and you also have the check lands that have been reprinted so many times.
The check lands are great for Commander.
Yeah, they just got reprinted in Ixalan, and then before that, the enemy colors were reprinted in Dominaria.
Yeah.
So those are just like in a 2-color deck. Those are great because oftentimes you will have, like with Hinterland Harbor, you will have a forest and you will have an island in play.
Yeah, so you'll always get that in untapped.
Yeah, unfortunately for the battle lands, they only did the allied colors, so we don't have the enemy colors for that land cycle. And God forbid they do an Oath of the Gatewatch. Can't have those in standard at the same time, I guess. Anyways, yes. So the Pain lands are also a great cycle of untapped lands that I think are kind of underplayed in the format, and they've reprinted just as many times as the check lands, and it's a similar thing where it's always the case where the allied cycles of things have been printed more.
Yep.
Because Wizards has leaned more towards the allied colors over the years, whereas the enemy colors have always been a road less traveled and have been cycles that they've never done, right? And may never do. Like they just finished the Talisman cycle in Modern Horizons.
Finally, how long did that take?
That was Mirrodin originally. So I think that was like 2003 or something. So yeah, the Pain lands are also a really great pickup, and those are all relatively cheap. I think the last time they were printed was in Magic Origins. At least the enemy colors were printed in Magic Origins, but the allied colors have been printed so many times that they're really not that expensive. And what's great about the Pain lands is if you don't need the colored mana, you can tap them and not take any damage.
Yeah, you can still tap them for colorless, so it's really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, they don't see much constructed play, so that's why they're really good Commander pickups, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the last point on sort of how many lands to run and which lands to run that I want to make is running too many colorless mana-producing utility lands. I've definitely been guilty of this.
It definitely happened to me with one deck. I was just like throwing in a lot of stuff, and then I was having mana problems some games.
And it's definitely something that can happen, especially even in like 1 and 2 color decks, because you sort of feel like it's easy to fix.
Yeah.
And you don't really need to worry about color distribution in your mana production, but you still do. And I think it's easy to think, I'll be fine. I can run 15 utility lands in my 2-color deck. You can't. Don't do that.
Don't do stuff like that.
Just don't.
And it's interesting as well because I was even playing a Bant Eldrazi deck, and I was like, I need that colorless mana for some cards.
Right.
But then again, I had a lot of 2-color pips in like my other 3 colors, and so there were other times I was just like, I'm so greedy on the mana that I need, and I have too many of these colorless lands and stuff here. So
yeah, it's like it's like when you go to kindergarten, you have to start sharing, and it's like they say, don't be greedy.
Yeah,
it's still the same. So and I think in a 1 to 2 color deck, you can usually get away with running anywhere from like 5 to 10 utility lands. But once you get to 3 colors and beyond, I don't know that I'd run more than 5.
Yeah, it gets a little dicey.
It does, definitely gets dicey.
Because you really want to just make sure that you're getting your colors so you can play your cards.
And I don't want to step on anybody's toes here, but whatever you do not put Temple of the False God in a deck. Please don't do it. Like, I have just...
But it taps for 2 mana. It taps for 2 mana, Kevin.
But it's not... It has a stipulation. It taps for 2 mana if it's your 5th land. And you know what? If you do put it in a deck... Don't keep it in your opening hand unless you have 4 of the lands. Like, don't be like, oh, I'll draw the lands.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
really
like
bad.
Don't. Unless you have like ramp, unless you have a way to get there. It's
actually funny. So on MTG Goldfish, they do commander stuff.
Right.
And so Tomer is the one who runs all the commander stuff, and he hates Temple of the False God. And there was a game where one of the other guys had Temple of the False God out there with like 3 other lands, and he's like, "Ha, see, don't play that land.
Yeah,
It doesn't do anything for you."
Ancient Tomb is a really good replacement. I know that it's like probably back up to, it's probably like $35-$40 now, after its reprint last December. But you know, if you have a deck that you're like, I really like this deck and I really like Ancient Tomb, just do yourself a favor, treat yourself, pick up an Ancient Tomb and take Temple of the False God out of the deck. Please.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's US around $25, so yeah,
Oh,
it's around the
nice.
$30 mark. So
Awesome. Okay.
I think it's still an okay time to pick these guys up.
Yeah,
'cause
it is. No, that's a really good price. They were up to like $60 before the reprint.
Yeah.
So, and that's like an uncommon from Tempest. It's
Yeah.
uncommon. Ay. Okay, so now, after Eric and I have gotten off our lands soapbox, we're going to go through our top 10 lands that we like to play in the Commander format. And we've kept this list secret from each other because that's more fun, we think. So,
I think this will be fun. I did try and pick some lands that are kind of like a little out there.
me too.
Cool.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
I don't want to spoil things, but I also want to say like I did leave out a land purposely because I thought you were gonna put it in your list.
Oh, that's cheating.
Is it cheating?
It's fine. There are no rules.
We'll see if you have it in your list, and if not, I'm gonna mention it at the end.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's like Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Yeah. It's our show.
That's right. So why don't you
Start us off?
yeah, you start us off.
All right, because I already saw your 10 card there.
You did, so that's
did.
why we're letting you
Okay.
start.
So what I chose for my number 10 to start off the list is Homeward Path.
Good land.
Yeah. I do like having this in my decks because sometimes somebody's trying to steal things, and this makes sure that you can keep your own stuff.
And everyone well, why don't you read the card?
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry. We should probably read the card. So, Homeward Path, it's a utility land which you can tap for colorless mana. The utility part of it is each player gains control of all creatures he or she owns. So, it does just protect your creatures. It's not going to like get your command or planeswalkers and enchantments and stuff like that. It's just creatures, but it is a solid card just like throw in a deck. If you're looking for utility land and if you are playing like more of a creature heavy deck, it can be a good thing to have Homeward Path in there.
One time, and you know, I'm going to mention Rob on the show again. I was in a pod with Rob, and and he was, I can't remember what deck he was playing, but I was playing my Memnarch deck.
Oh yeah.
And he played Homeward Path, and I had Memnarch on the field, and I turned Homeward Path into an artifact, and I took control of it.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was the end of
That's
that.
brutal.
Yeah. That's back before my deck was like combo centric and I was like slowly taking things because I didn't know how to be a good player.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do now. I'm better now.
It'd be fun just to take things slowly.
But people hate it. They hate it so much. And I just want everyone to have a good time.
All right.
I've
so
changed.
you just win on turn 4.
Yeah, but then it's fast, and then we can play another game. More games means more good times. Okay, my number 10 land is Rogue's Passage. Mm-hmm. It taps for a colorless, but you can also pay 4, tap it, target creature can't be blocked this turn. So this land is obviously great in Voltron builds, which is what we were talking about last week. But also, this card is great like politically because you can use it on any creature. So if someone's swinging for like lethal damage or you have a big beater, an opponent has a big beater, you can be like, hey, I'll make this guy unblockable if you will be my slave for the rest of the game. And they're like, okay, I'll do it.
Oh,
you know, or like whatever. That's just one scenario that could happen. But yeah, this is just a great land for that reason that you can just kind of spread it around. You don't even have to make a deal. You can just say, hey, I'm going to make your creature unblockable. And then the other player's like, oh no, what's going to happen? But anyways, yeah, great card. Super cheap. It's been reprinted a bunch of times. So grab a foil.
Yeah, I loved this card, especially when I was playing Animar a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Rogue's Passage
It's awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Because Animar always gets super big. You just smash in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Smash face.
Yeah.
Oh, nope.
All right, moving on to the number 9 pick. I have Gavany Township. So
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
I know this one.
yeah, so it is a land that taps to add a mana to your mana pool. You have to run in the Selesnya colors because you pay 2 and then a green and a white to tap it. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
Really good in tokens.
Really good in tokens.
Which are the
really
colors
good
of
in a lot
Selesnya.
creature builds.
Yeah.
Because if it's just out there and you don't have anything left to do with your mana, you're just slowly making your board more powerful as well.
Yeah. That's very cool. I like that a lot.
Just like a good value card.
All right, my number 9 is Bojuka Bog.
Yeah.
It is it enters the battlefield tapped. Don't love that. When Bojuka Bog enters the battlefield, exile all cards from target player's graveyard, and you can tap it for a black. So we all know how backbreaking this card can be to an opponent's graveyard strategy. And what I love about Bojuka Bog is it's a removal spell that doesn't take up a slot in your deck.
Totally.
Yeah. And this card is actually, I don't know if it got a reprint in Commander 19, but it did get a reprint in Commander 18, and it's still like $350.
Yeah, just for a common land.
Yeah, hasn't been reprinted in the standard set since Worldwake, I think. The Zendikar block,
Gotcha.
the original. Okay.
I gotta look away from the screen because you keep flicking.
Sorry, yeah, I'm so used to just like hitting
know,
down
yeah.
on the keyboard and like next card.
So funny. All right, number 8. Again, I got some more colored stuff here. Vault of the Archangel.
I don't know that one.
I actually even played this in Modern
Wow.
for a little bit, a couple years ago.
But then you wanted to start winning games, so you stopped playing it?
No, actually, I went out of 5K, I went 5 and 2 with my Esper deck.
Okay,
And I was running
all
this
right.
land. It's just a one of, but it's a nice card. So it tasks for one of anything, or one colorless. 2 of anything, a white and a black. Tap. Creatures you control gain Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn.
That's very powerful.
So yeah, because if you have creatures out there, you just have some tokens and stuff like that. It's really good defense because nobody wants to tack into you because you can just give yourself Death Touch and your creatures die that you're jacking with. So I really like this to deter people from tacking me and just having like your creatures with Death Touch is just good.
It is very good. We know that for a fact. All right, so my number 8 is kind of 3 cards. It's Academy Ruins, Volrath's Stronghold, and Hall of Helioid's Generosity. So they all kind of do the same thing, but they target different cards. So they all tap for a colorless mana. They're all legendary lands.
Cool.
And they all have an activated ability. So Academy Ruins is 1 and a blue. Tap, put target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. Volrath's Stronghold is 1 and a black. Tap, put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. And Hall of Helioid's Generosity is 1 and a white. Tap, put target enchantment card from your graveyard on top of your library. So, in a singleton format, being able to get cards back from the graveyard is one of the most powerful things that we can do. Mm-hmm. And these cards all do that. Yeah, they put it on top, which can kind of give you a tempo loss. But if you have a way to just draw those cards immediately, you really don't care.
And if you have a piece you really need or something like that as well, it's kind of like worth it to just get it back.
Yeah, and then, like untap, upkeep, you just draw that for turn. It can be very powerful.
Yeah.
So yeah, all these cards are really, really good. And Hall of Helioid's Generosity is the only one that's like cheap. So pick these up before they end up being like $30.
All right. Moving on to our 7s. I've chosen Arch of Arazka.
This is a
newer
good
one.
card. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice card, just a mana sink. So Ascend. So if you have 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing. You can tap for a colorless mana, and then 5 and tap to draw a card. Activate this ability only if you have the City's Blessing. So it's just, again, like you have leftover mana, you can draw cards, get through your deck. Really great when you're running like, the Boros colors, because it's harder to draw cards. So it's really valuable in those kind of decks too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just having one of your lands as card draw can't hurt.
No, it's very good. I like that card a lot. Okay, my number 7 is Temple of False God. No, I'm kidding. It's Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb is tap for 2 colorless mana. Ancient Tomb deals 2 damage to you. So if you had a damage redirect, you could deal with that 2 damage, right? Because it's not loss of life.
Oh yeah, I guess
It's
so.
like the difference between City of Brass and Mana Confluence.
Yeah, and then also like a lot of time when it says deals 2 damage, but cards will say this damage can be prevented or something. So.
Right, cards will specifically say that.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's commander, you have 40 life, just take the 2 damage.
Yeah, it's 2 more mana.
Who cares?
Go for it.
Yeah, this is like turn 1, you have this and Soul Ring, and you got 3 mana.
Yep.
And you can play all kinds of other stuff too. Like you could play at your hand. I've gotten that God hand before.
Cool.
So it feels good. You win fast.
Yeah, super strong card. Definitely. As we were just talking about the price earlier, I think it's still a decent time to pick these guys up. So.
Oh yeah. No, until it gets back up to like $60, it's a good time to pick it up. For sure.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the 6. I have Inventor's Fair. This is a legendary land. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more artifacts, you gain 1 life. This does tap for colorless mana, and you have to pay 4 mana and tap it to sacrifice Inventor's Fair. Search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then you shuffle your library. Active this ability only if you have 3 or more artifacts.
So it has Metalcraft.
Pretty much. Yeah, they have to. I think this was the only card in the Kaladesh set that had that stipulation, so that's why they didn't just bring back Metalcraft.
Yeah, they wanted us all to forget about how good it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
But I have been known to like artifact decks, and so this is a great tutor in your artifact decks.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's really, really good.
Even if you have like some mana rocks and you have like a little bit more of like a sub theme of artifacts, I think it's still worth it to play the Inventor's Fair just because you're tutoring for something that you want.
And if you have a Sun Titan, you can just keep bringing it back and tutoring.
Ooh, yeah.
I've definitely done that.
Nice. I want to do that.
All right, my next one is Buried Ruins. So it's sort of in the same vein as Academy Ruins. It taps for a colorless, and you can pay 2, tap it, sacrifice Buried Ruin, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand.
You have to sacrifice it, though.
Yeah, but...
Works in any color.
Yeah, sometimes you need it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So. But yeah, again, I think this card's great. You're just, again, getting stuff back. And it goes to your hand.
And it goes to your hand.
It's not on top of the library, so yeah.
Yeah, so you're not getting that tempo loss.
Yeah, sweet, sweet, sweet. All right, halfway point. Number 5.
This is when it gets real.
Real.
That's right.
I have chosen Talaria West.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Why didn't I pick that?
All right, so this one is actually a land you may not be playing as a land. So Talaria West comes into play tapped. It adds blue mana to your mana pool, but it does have Transmute. So 1 of anything in 2 blue. Discard this card. Search your library for a card with CMC costs 0. Reveal it and put it in your hand. Then shuffle your library.
Mox.
Yeah. So this can grab you any land you want. It can grab you moxes and stuff like that. And then again, if you're playing a deck that's doing like those 0 mana cards, like
Memnite. Ornithopter.
those, sure.
Shield Sphere.
I'm going also off of like, is it Ancestral Recall?
Ancestral Vision.
Ancestral Vision
is the suspend one.
Is the suspend one, yeah. So cards with suspend, so like Ancestral Vision. There's the black like board wipe Living End.
Yeah, I believe so.
So again, this card can grab cards like that as
Pact
well.
of Negation.
Yeah. Any of the packs you can grab with this too.
Yes.
So it does have a lot of utility. I think it's a really cool land, and I definitely don't see it as much. So
yeah, it's sort of hopped up there in price as well. Yeah, I've only ever used it in artifact decks or like mono blue decks like Azami to go and get lands or moxes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so my number 5 is also 2 cards. It's Cascading.
You're cheating a lot here, Kevin.
I'm cheating. They're similar enough though. It's not. I'm not cheating. It's Crystal Cataracts and Crystal Quarry. So Crystal Cataracts is it's indestructible. You can tap it for a colorless mana, or you can pay 5, tap, add 5 mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool. And Crystal Quarry is the same thing, except it's not indestructible. And when you pay 5 to tap it, you add Wooburg to your mana pool. So I would say that Crystal Cataracts is strictly better because you get to choose the combination of mana, plus it's indestructible. But these lands are roughly the same, and they're really awesome in 5-color decks, especially if you don't want to go all out on dual lands and making the mana base really super tuned. But yeah, they're great budget cards.
Because even if you're trying to play cards that like don't cost Wooburg, but they cost like 2 or 3 of the colors, you can still pay 5 mana to get the colors that you just can't get.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, both these cards are great in 5 color decks. Mm-hmm. Even 4 color decks, that's not so bad either.
Yeah, I don't think you could run Crystal Quarry in a 4-color deck
because it has all the colors.
Because it has the colors, but you could run Crystal Cataracts in any deck.
Yeah.
So another reason why it's just strictly better.
Strictly better.
Strictly better.
This episode. All right, moving on to my number 4 pick. I had to throw Strip Mine in here.
You got to.
It's such a good card.
Somebody had to. Somebody had to end this madness.
So yeah, Strip Mine, add 1 to your mana pool, but you can tap it to sacrifice Strip Mine and destroy target land.
God, it's good.
So
I just like looking at my Strip Mines.
Sure, yeah.
They're just so good. Also, Sun Titan.
Yes, keep Grimrak the Sun Titan.
Next episode, Sun Titan.
He's the best land recursion. No.
Yeah, just a great card. It has everything.
Unlike previous conflicts, the war between Urza and Mishra made Dominaria itself a casualty of war. Yes. I love that flavor text.
I love that too. Yeah, the Brothers' War is definitely. If we were gonna do like some lore episodes,
that's the first.
That's some shit I would want to do for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, my number 4 is Zhalfirin Void.
Cool, new one.
Yeah, Dominaria. So when Zhalfirin Void enters the battlefield, scry 1, and you can tap to add a colorless to your mana pool. So I know that it's, the single scry effect doesn't make up for the fact that this land only taps for colorless mana, but I think this card is really good in colors that don't have access to this kind of effect.
Yeah.
Especially if you can bring this, if you of course could get that effect multiple times from this land, that's great. But just, like in a Kozilek deck, just throw this in.
Because it's a good land.
Yeah, it's just a good land. Doesn't enter the battlefield. If it entered the battlefield tapped, I think it would be unplayable.
Yeah.
But I really like this one.
And then again, if you're running those like dual color, so the lands like enter tap, they tap for 2, but you have to return a land.
Right, the temples they just got reprinted in Core 2020, all 10.
Oh,
yeah, that was the land cycle. Is that what you're talking about?
No,
from Theros?
No. So the lands that tap for 2 mana.
Yeah.
They enter tap and they tap for 2 mana.
Yeah, the bounce lands.
The bounce lands. Yeah.
Those are terrible.
But you could bounce this.
You could.
And then play this again and get the scry.
That's right.
That's decent.
Yeah, but think about how that mana you're behind on now.
You're not behind on.
I guess not. I guess I just don't like those. God,
only when it enters, you just like down that because it enters tapped. You're only down that 1 mana then you're still tapping that land you're returning, or you should be.
I used to play those lands when I first started playing Commander, and I would keep. And there's nothing wrong with it if you play those lands. I know Eric still plays.
I know.
Those
I
lands.
still play them.
It's fine. But and you're good, so But I would play them, and I would like keep hands where I'd have like a bounce land, and then like some other land. So it's like turn 1 you play your land. Turn 2, you play your bounce land, and you bounce it. It's just like, it does not feel good. So that's why I stopped playing them.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I still feel like it's a card that's not good when you get it early, but later in the game, getting like the 2 mana off your 1 card draw is I found that's why I still run them. But again, like there was that one time we were playing, and I was like, "This is why you hate this card, Kevin." And like my hand was like a land and like that duel, and it was like shit. And I was
yeah. Well, you're all about you're all about like the ceiling, right? And I'm like, at its base, what are we looking at here?
Yeah.
Like the best case scenario. Hey, I hope it happens, but let's be realistic.
It is still awkward. Alrighty, number 3.
Oh wow, number 3 already.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Cool. Yeah. My number 3 is Yavimaya Hollow.
This card has gotten very expensive.
It got expensive a while ago.
It was a while ago.
The hubbub about the reserve list.
Right.
It spiked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was another card I picked up in like a Kijiji collection.
Sweet.
purchase. Yeah.
So Yavimaya Hollow taps for colorless, but then you can still tap it and pay 1 green to regenerate target creature.
Protect your commander.
Yeah, exactly. This is just like a nice protection card. I know there are those board wipes out there that say creatures can't be regenerated, but still, on a lot of the off chances, like this is just a good way to save your commander.
Yeah, there are a lot of times where you can regenerate your commander. There's no problem.
Totally, yeah. So I really like this card. It's got interesting art for like the age of it as well.
Yeah, Urza's Destiny, I believe. Yeah, it's sort of, it's like really kind of animated.
Yeah.
It looks very like kind of like, I don't know, like 30s animation. It's very, it's like something a child would draw almost.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, my number 3 is, God, I'm cheating again. I chose the cycle of layer lands from Plane Shift.
Oh right, these weird ones.
Yeah, I'm always running these. Yeah. So they did this cycle, and they're the cycle of the shard color combinations. So that's like Bant, Grixis. What are the other ones? Esper, Jund, and
Did you not grab them all here?
no, I didn't grab them all here. Is it Naya?
I don't.
Yeah, it is Naya.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the 5.
Yeah.
Because the other ones are the wedges from the cons block.
Yeah, because those are the colors of the Elder Dragons we just got. So
Exactly, yeah. So these lands, so I'll just read Treva's Ruins. Each of these are based on one of the Elder Dragons from the Plane Shift set or block. I can't exactly remember. But Treva's Ruins is a layer in addition to its other land types, or in addition to its land type. When Treva's Ruins comes into play, sacrifice it unless you return a non-layer land you control to its owner's hand, and it taps for green, white, and blue. So each of these...
Not end. Or.
Yes, or. Thank you.
Taps with 3 mana. Whoa!
Yeah, so each of these cycles taps for their respective colors. And it doesn't enter the battlefield tap, but you do have to bounce a land. So,
But you can still tap that land first. So
yeah, you can still tap that land first. So you're not losing mana that turn. But yeah, these lands are great if you are in those colors because it doesn't enter the battlefield tap. That's why I
really got to
like
pick
these.
up all these. I totally should have when I was talking about you last. So I think these cards are actually really good.
They are really good. Yeah, they're really underplayed.
And I don't think they're very pricey still.
No, even the foils are pretty affordable. Like I picked up a Treva's Ruins for like $250 on Card Kingdom, like
Not
near
bad.
mint foil from Plane Shift. Like that's an old set. Yeah, and the foils are beautiful because they're old borders. So yeah, they're really awesome.
Nice. Take a recommendation. Pick these guys up.
Do it.
Yep. Getting up to the tops here. My number top 2 is Rogue's Passage.
Oh, nice.
So we did talk about it already. It was Kevin's number 10. I love this card, especially because when I first played, it was my second commander deck. I thought this card was great, and I just started using it. Unblockable is always great, so...
Yeah, do something about it, right?
Yeah, come on.
Come at me.
Is that our first duplicate?
On this list, it's our first duplicate.
Crazy.
Yeah,
All right.
It is. Okay, so my number 2 is Terrain Generator. It taps for a colorless mana, and you can pay 2 to tap it. You may put a basic land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. So in white or red or blue, or even black. Black has the ability to make a lot of mana doublers, but all those colors don't have really great ways of land-based mana ramp. This card is great in those decks. Even colorless decks, you can put wastes onto the battlefield tapped. And yeah, this card is just great in all those decks, and it's still like pretty cheap. It's like a $2 card.
Cool. Yeah, I think I didn't know that card existed.
Yeah, and I play a lot of, I've built a lot of monocolored decks that aren't green, so yeah, cards like this come in very, very, very handy. Once you get to 3 colors, you don't play this card. It's probably not very good because you don't have enough enough of a critical mass of basics. But in a monocolor deck, like you're running 20 to 25 basics.
Yeah,
right?
so you might as well throw it in there. Yeah, I think that's where this card sits. Yeah.
All right, was that right? Your number 2 is Rogue's Passage. So now we got to go on to your number 1.
All right. Top of the list. Thespian Stage.
Ooh, nice.
The land that's any land.
Okay, yeah. It's better than Vesuva because you can just keep doing it.
Exactly. That's why I love Thespian Stage.
Yeah.
So it taps for a colorless, and then you can pay 2 and tap it. Thespian Stage becomes a copy of target land, except it has this ability.
Yeah, like, what's that Dimir commander?
Lazov.
Exactly. Thank you.
So, Thespian Stage is actually one of my favorite lands, just because you can make it anything that's on the battlefield.
And there's so many powerful lands running around in Commander that you're just like, oh, I'm going to make a copy of that.
Yeah.
You know? I'm going to make a copy of your Strip Mine.
Yeah, you could do that and then sacrifice it. Someone decides to play Dark Depths.
Boom.
You can get that token.
Give me the token. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Also, if you're just like stuck for mana, you can still copy somebody's colored mana.
You can copy somebody's bounce land.
You can.
Yeah.
Boom, 2 mana there. Yeah, so
Nice.
I love Thespian Stage. Great card.
Very good card. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still pretty cheap after its reprint in Ultimate Masters.
Yeah, it is. So get these guys while they're hot.
My number 1 is Command Beacon.
All right.
Taps for a colorless, and you can tap Sacrifice Command Beacon, put your commander into your hand from the command zone. So we just got a bunch of cards in Commander 2019 that interact with commanders.
Yes.
And we can bring them back to our hands or put them into our hands from the command zone and things like that, which I really love because that commander tax can get to the point where you just can't cast your commander anymore.
And this card's getting up there in price, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only been printed in Commander 2015, I believe that set symbol is.
Yeah.
And there was a Judge promo, which was a foil.
Right.
And that's all. That's it. That's all the printings of this. And this card is the namesake for my Instagram page.
Yeah.
Just a great card. And like this card is really good in a Voltron build, but it's just, if I had more of them, I'd put them in more decks.
Yeah.
But I think I only have about maybe 3 or 4 of these in decks.
Hey, that's good. I might only have 1.
Yeah, just a really, really great card. Needs a reprint. Why don't they just put these in the commander decks? Maybe it'd be too much. It's like they can't put a Seedborn Muse in every deck, right?
They have to print it again at some point in Commanders. Come on.
Yeah, or maybe in some kind of like Modern Horizons set. Can you imagine like buying packs of Modern Horizons? You're just a modern player and you get this shit.
Just like, what is this?
I want my money back now.
Yeah, what the hell?
What's command zone?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh man.
All right.
Sorry,
you can.
Oh, I was just gonna say that like in those like Phage commander decks, like Phage the Untouchable, this card is an auto include.
Oh.
Right, because you have to cast Phage from your hand.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. But anyways, that's it.
So I guess we have an honorable mention, the one I wanted to, but I just thought you were actually gonna have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So it's from Kamigawa.
Hmm.
It is Boseiju Who Shelters All.
Oh yeah, that's one of my cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a legendary land. It enters the play in comes into play tapped. You can tap it and pay 2 life. Add 1 colorless to your mana pool. If that mana is spent on an instant or sorcery spell, that spell can't be countered by spells or abilities.
How could I forget about Boseiju? It's won me so many games.
Oh man, so many.
It's like can't counter my Sanguinate.
And there was a game where I was like, all right, to get rid of his stuff, I can strip mine the Boseiju before his turn, and then you can try and do something about it because you were just going to get it back again.
Right.
With your commander.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it was like the nightmare.
Yeah, what a great card.
Yeah.
And it's really great when you don't have access to blue, when you don't have access to counter magic.
Yes.
Like, what else can you do?
Yeah.
Right? Is just make your 1 instant or sorcery uncounterable. And I guess you can untap lands, which, in green is easy to do.
But it's still like once per round, you still get like an uncounterable spell. So I really like this card as well. I think it's great because if you just really want a board wipe to go off, Or you have your game-winning
Anything.
card. Like,
Yeah, you really need that tutor to stick.
Yeah.
Like anything. And it's just 2 life, no big deal. It's just 2 life. If it means you win the game, who cares?
who cares?
Yeah. All right, guys and gals, we're going to wrap up the show for today, but we'll be back next week talking more about our Commander League. I know we've been peppering it in these last few episodes, and hopefully we'll have gotten a chance to play with the decks, and we can talk about some of the best new cards from Commander 2019 in terms of how they played in the decks out of the box. And we'll also be, we're doing a little chaos draft for our Commander League. We'll go into more detail about this on the episode.
Masters chaos draft.
That's right. Yeah, all Masters packs. Also, Modern Horizons is an option.
Yeah.
So that should be fun. We'll be talking about that as well. That's sort of how we decide who gets which deck.
Winner gets to pick first and so on.
Yeah. So the player who does the worst doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, you're just getting whatever's left.
Yeah. But we just want to thank you guys for listening. And as usual, you can email us at turn1soulring@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at turn1soulring_the podcast. And you can follow me on Instagram at commandbeacon. We're currently doing our September giveaway of 3 Throne of Eldraine booster packs. That's happening on our Instagram page, and you can enter that giveaway by finding the September giveaway Instagram post. Follow the instructions on that, and you might win those packs. We'll be announcing the winner of that giveaway on October 1st, at which point we'll be starting our October giveaway. Maybe we should do something Halloween themed.
I like it.
They should do a Halloween set. That'd be fun.
I mean, Throne of Eldraine has some pretty, like...
Let's go back to Innistrad.
Okay.
Let's just reprint original Innistrad.
Okay.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud as usual, but you can also find us on Spotify now. So go on Spotify and check us out. And you can also listen to Tool on Spotify.
Heyo.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again for listening, and have fun playing Magic, and go get them, Tigers.
Thanks for listening again, and show me them ATBs.
Turn 1 Soul Ring.